Burke.
Here.
Mr. Melvin.
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Here.
Mr. Arabi.
Here.
Chairman Otan.
Here.
Mrs. Chasson.
Here.
Mr. Lorraine. And President Chasson is not here tonight. Parish Administrator Ogeron will be here. Thank you.
Very good. Full house. If everyone would please rise, we'll be led in invocation by Councilman Perk, followed by Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Melvin.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. We come to you today, Lord, asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful and productive discussions and do what is best for all the people of Lafourche Parish. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to thank everyone for attending tonight's meeting. We would respectfully request that you please put your phones on silent and or turn them off out of respect for others. Additionally, if you are wishing to address the council, please fill out a blue form at the door when you walked in and get up to the council clerk. We'll be sure to recognize you during the public wishing to address the council portion of the meeting. Additionally, I will ask for public input on ordinances. If you want to discuss an ordinance at that time, I will ask for public input. However, when we get to resolutions, we'll just move straight to the vote or straight to discussion by the council and then to the vote. With that said, we'll jump right into tonight's meeting. Item A, approval of minutes. I'm going to entertain a motion to defer the minutes of the May 28, 2024 regular session to July 9th of 2024. So moved by Councilman Perk, second by Councilman Arabi. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas and 0 nays. Item 2, we'll now entertain a motion to defer the minutes of the June 11th, 2024 regular session to July 9th of 2024. So moved by Councilman Perk, second by Councilman Arabi. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. You got both of them? 9 yeas, 0 nays?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Thank you all. With that said, we'll move to item B, state and/or federal legislative updates. Absolutely, Joe. Come up and give us what's transpiring on the state level.
Thank you, Joe Ogeron, guest, state representative. I was going to pull up some notes from that I had already done, but I'm not on the Wi-Fi, so I'm just going to wing it. Basically, we had a very, I'm going to call it aggressive legislative session, as you know. It still feels like we started in January with the redistricting, followed by a crime session, followed by the regular session. Pretty much went through, did great things for the seafood industry, passing some bills on shrimp testing. Of course, last year we had done urgent requests to the federal government to try to curb a lot of the imports from Ecuador and things like that. We also made a strong push to lower insurance rates by increasing competition in Louisiana. Following Hurricane Ida, a lot of insurance companies felt like they got a bloody nose. They left. But there were, believe it or not, insurance companies looking over the fence at the Louisiana playground to come in. Basically, what we were told was that it's a little bit of a bullied playground. So if we made some changes to the laws, a couple of things in legal reform, get rid of the 3-year rule, which only exists in Louisiana. The reason why nationwide is on your side is in 49 states and not in Louisiana, which we did get rid of that one. A few other legislative actions to try to make I call it the playground, but the environment for insurers to come in a little bit more accommodating, then we would be able to reduce those, get some prices reduced with increased competition. I would say about 2/3 of the bills that we tried to pass, that Tim Temple was trying to pass, went through. One of them went through and was subsequently vetoed by the governor. Kind of got a letter today about whether or not we were going to have a veto override session. It's still too early to talk about it, but at least the way Louisiana works is as soon as he vetoes one bill, a veto override session is automatically on the schedule, and we have to actually vote more than 50% in the House and the Senate to say that we don't want to have a session to try to override the vetoes. So anyway, moving on, some of the other things, bills that I actually authored and carried and went through include in Grand Isle, the alternative aquaculture for oysters, doubling up the amount of space that they had, being involved with CCA and redfish regulations and trout regulations. I also ran a bill that created a fund so that Louisiana, which unlike Texas that already has one and Mississippi that already has one, that we could eventually get a redfish and trout hatchery to release the fish. Wildlife and Fisheries had never really been warm to having a hatchery because they didn't want to pay for it. But what this does is it creates a financial bucket within the state that money could be deposited into. And we have already got some private donations that would come in and start working to be able to run a hatchery. It wouldn't be tagging with a physical tag like they used to do in the old days. It would basically be doing genetic sampling of the mama and the daddy so that they basically know the genetic fingerprint of all the thousands or millions of hatchlings that they release, so that whenever you would catch a fish, if you send it in to get testing, they would know whether or not that was one of the hatchlings that had been released, or maybe even 4 years, 5 years later, that particular fish mates with another wild fish, and then we would know that some kind of way that one of those parents came from the hatchery. So it's a pretty good program that Wildlife and Fisheries is happy to see happen, but not really doesn't want to fund it. So we got to look for private fundings. Probably the most important bill, there's some other ones that I passed that were basically changing in the redistricting. North Lafourche Levy District would lose a board member, but they didn't want to be at an even number, so I changed that. The other little administrative things, but probably the one that I'm most proud of is after 3 years of trying to get a bill that dedicates any revenue that the state receives from offshore energy gets dedicated to coastal restoration, the Coastal Restoration and Protection Fund. Now already, oil and gas revenue, which is 90% of what we would probably ever see, already is dedicated to coastal restoration funds. But they are talking now about offshore wind, solar, tidal, all these other possible additive, Fouchon is all about not energy transition, but energy addition, we say at the port. But any money that comes from energy produced offshore, despite the dry-foot legislators in North Louisiana who want a piece of it, we're telling them, nope, it needs to go to the communities, to the protection in communities and sustaining of those families who work at, in the ports and supporting offshore energy. So after the third year, finally got it past the legislature, and come November 5th, whenever we all go to the polls to vote for the next president, you'll be happy to see that there's only one single amendment on the ballot, not a big list, and that one amendment will be, do you agree on dedicating offshore energy along with oil and gas already dedicated to coastal protection? So happy to get that done. Of course, capital outlay, got as much as we could under the current circumstances. It wasn't as surplus laden as previous years with the 0.45 sales tax running off, but there were some small pockets of money that came in that I was able to send $100,000 to the Gaines Fire Department to help pay for, I think, insurance and last note on a truck, so that they could stay FEMA compliant and get the rest of their stuff. And also, I also sent some money towards Fire District number 3 that of course passed the tax to self-fund themselves, but that'll have a delayed effect. So in the interim, they got a little bit of operating cash as well to hold them over. And that's it. Any other questions about any legislation that anybody have?
Mr. Melvin.
Hey, Joe. I know, thank you for the update. I know for years we've been talking about the official journal for Lafourche Parish, and I know things are changing, as you well know, due to advancements in technology. And I know the comment may have a representative in an empty office working remote from somewhere, Lord knows where. It's just costing taxpayers a lot of money over time, maybe 30 grand a year over time, and or more. And I was hoping somehow, some way, if you would suggest what we need to do to help y'all to maybe we could get it where the internet is the journal or the parish website.
Early on, first year, I actually looked into it, and the Louisiana Press Association is one lobbyist group that's pretty strong, and they're the owners of the larger newspapers that make money off of y'all public notices, and they were not kind to what I was trying to do, which was trying to get the Lafourche Gazette to be our Lafourche Parish's public record, including Grand Isles, communities of interest. We were doing redistricting. It seemed quite fit. There seemed to be a path that there's a gap somewhere in the statute that allows kind of like a hybrid. The problem is the Lafourche Gazette is an independent free paper, and if they were able to hybridize and have, if I'm remembering my notes from 3 years ago, if you bear with me, but what I remember is if we got 25 to 50 companies that were representative of all the economies in Lafourche Parish to have a paid subscription to be able to take so many copies that they, like we put out in the lobby over here, that basically Lafourche Gazette could still say that they're an independent free paper, but have a paid subscription base of companies specifically representative of the economy of Lafourche. Have to have a sugarcane farmer, have to have boat companies, the whole spread of businesses in Lafourche. But 25 to 50 companies, then it could qualify as being possibly a public a journal of record for the parish.
So they don't want it because they don't own it. They don't own the Gazette. That's why, pretty much. I mean, if they own the Gazette, they'd be all for it, I'm sure, right?
The Louisiana Press Association is going to fight even what I just said, because the people that own the Comet are happy collecting y'all money. Every time y'all have to do the public notices.
So you're telling me lobbyists?
Well, a lot of it has to do with that, but.
Okay.
But at least in the investigation and getting shut down by the lobbyist, I found kind of a niche, and I did speak with Miss Addy about the possibility of it, but just never picked it up seriously again. But there is a path there.
Okay, my other statement real quick is, I think in Louisiana, we have too many alligators, and I know sometimes the price is not $50 a foot like it was in the 80s. For a nice sized gator, you're looking at maybe $35 a foot. The problem is if you go fishing, especially freshwater, I remember back in about '08, I was frogging in Lake Buff. I took a little break, shined my light, and I was in a pocket of Lake Buff. I counted 90 alligators in a pocket a little bigger than this room, and it's just enormous, the explosion of population. And I think overall in the long run it's going to hurt our fisheries because it's such a controlled species where I think it's over-regulated now. So that's just food for thought for later, but in my opinion, it's just hurting fisheries. So.
Well, I am vice chair of House Natural Resources, have very close ties with everybody at Wildlife and Fisheries. So if you tell me Lake Buff has a problem, I could maybe get
Louisiana has a problem.
Well, I know
has a problem.
they know Louisiana has a problem from the time that they put them as an endangered species, and then they bounce back with a vengeance. So
right, we try not to get people eating like in Florida Disney World, to shut that park down, literally.
Mr. Adams.
Joe, mine's easy, dude. I just passed through Des Allemands, and the grass is really tall right when you come off the bridge. Can we send some
I'll get on my tractor as soon as we leave here and go cut it.
See, because I know it's 90, so I'm just asking. That's all.
All right. Well, generally, it's a call to DOTD. Within a week, they go spray. The Roundup truck passes, and then 7 days after that, they go back and they cut it. That's how it's been working.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that you didn't talk about are the bridges. I don't know if you want to start with Golden Meadow.
No, let's end with Golden Meadow.
And
LaRose Link.
When is that? I heard you on the radio today said something about Wednesday.
That's right. Yesterday, the motors got delivered, and they were putting the motors up, and they said they would take till Wednesday, close of business, to get the bridge operational.
And the gold medal one, you said you extended it till August?
I didn't extend, you thinking
Well,
I extended, I wanted longer? You know that?
No, I think you want it fixed just as much as I would want it
That's right.
fixed. So
I
anybody
do.
with their right mind would want it fixed.
So I know that.
But they do break.
I know that, that I spoke with the owner of the company in charge of the contract, and he basically told me that once were finishing up the fixing of the structural bridge deck, they found the construction workers found additional, what you call suspect beams that they relayed back to DOTD, and DOTD said we want those fixed as well. So that's the additional delay, is to get the additional structure work. The thing I've been pressing them on is I want to know the first time that y'all make the bridge go, not for car traffic, just to test it to go up and down, because I know that there's going to probably be more things that'll creep up, and then we're going to have a new time scale on when it'll be fixed. But as of now, with the brand new control desk is in the house, it's hooked up, and they're working on the added beam fixes, and right now the current expected, it's done, it's ready to pass traffic, would be mid-August was what I told. I'm going to contact them back and tell them, you know, we should do everything we humanly can to try to get it done and repaired and open for the first day of school. That's what we should.
And that is going to be close to 2 years.
It would be 2 years in November, that's correct.
And you live not too far from where I live.
That's
so
correct.
You know what would be nice? Why don't you get the state to reimburse us our gas, because it costs us double to come all the way up and go down and come back and go back.
Comprends.
That would be real nice if you could do that.
It's a good idea. I
Or
don't think it's
try.
going to happen, though. I don't think that's going to happen.
Put that in your...
No, but I did get a letter today from DOTD saying, give us the two top things that you would change about DOTD in Louisiana. And I told Miss Dina, I said, number one's going to be preventative bridge maintenance on movable bridges. Because if you don't put movable bridges, they think about, you know, the small ones. Now, I know we got a problem with
I'm fixing to bring them up.
Yeah, I know that bridge as well.
Three more lives lost.
And actually, I was on a meeting where you were talking about where are we at on DOTD on the 5 bridges on 308. That's right. It's been on the books for, well, before I got into office.
By 15 years.
Yeah. So.
I know you must be getting a lot of calls, because I know when the Galliana Bridge goes out, I get bombarded.
Right.
And you know, that old bridge is pretty old, and it's been holding up pretty good though. But I can tell you this, the last couple of times that it broke, we were able to get it repaired within 24 hours.
The parish does great work.
And I'm not blaming you for anything, because I could tell you this, maybe we could send that crew to the bridge where I live and maybe get it done a lot quicker.
I'll say what I've probably said 10 times already, and that is try to keep as many issues as local as possible. Something that takes only a week to get fixed in the town of Lockport or Golden Meadow or Grand Isle takes a month in, you know, takes a little bit longer in parish, takes a lot longer in state, and takes forever in federal.
What the old saying is, it takes time.
Takes time.
And my response to that, it shouldn't take forever.
That's right.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Mr. Araby.
Just one comment on what T. Boo's request was a while ago. I talked with the state today, and their contractor will be there Monday to cut all that grass, and his almonds going west. I was on the phone with him today about it. So just to let you, Joe, know, and
Thank you.
T. Boo know.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe, so I was just going to bring up that, you know, we got the email from Mr. Andrew Judas, I guess. So Chris is no longer at DOTD. If you remember right, we had went to Homa DOTD when you first became a state rep.
Correct.
About the 5 bridge and the bridge preservation program because of the high number of fatalities. It started 15 years ago, and they were involved. They were on top of it. And now we've had, this year we have 3 additional fatalities at their location. And now they're saying, you know, it may go out to bid in 2026.
With the realignment that was offered?
That's correct.
Okay.
We're doing that. We went with Chris,
Right.
3 years ago, and it was going out to bid that year, but then the COVID hit, and then Ida. Anyway, it just keeps getting punted down the road, and lives just continue to get lost. At some point, I mean, something has to happen, right? It can't just keep getting deferred or postponed or pushed down. It was really frustrating to read the email that Archie got, the response he got a couple of days ago. So anyway, I just like to keep poking somebody on that, whether it's a safety committee or some group at the state, because we did engage some safety group at one point.
Right.
That was looking at funding.
The second part of the DOTD email said, find 3 projects that are on your high priority list that you want bumped up. So I don't know how you bump them up from high priority, but the 5-bridge one can be one of the 3 if you like.
Yeah, and look,
I
the
mean,
other
grinding Elliott one is probably the one that I get the most complaints about, grinding and ultimately resurfacing.
Yeah.
But, and restriping's pretty bad. I know that we need that as well.
So anyway, I'm glad you're here. So I was able to bring up about the McLeod Bridge because, like I said, it's been a high priority for a very long time, having worked with those fatalities there over all these years with kids and everyone else. And then I'll reiterate what Bo said. I thank you for trying what you tried a few years ago in the public notice. It's a straight up scam. It's a state mandate. Y'all mandating it. Y'all are mandating it. And it's a scam. It's an absolute waste of our taxpayer money because those notices go to nobody. Nobody subscribes to the comment. It's not. So anyway, to me, it's just a straight scam, just send the money out into the garbage by our taxpayers. So anything that can be done with that, and technology is not, today, I mean, we can get much better exposure, via our email, our website or whatever. So anyway, but thank you for your time. We appreciate you listening to us this evening.
All righty, and I'll be back for a later comment on a later issue on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Any other state and or federal legislative updates? I don't see anyone else. Brings us to Lafourche Outstanding Citizen. None yet. Item D and item E are going to be pulled because the representatives are not here, so that'll likely be up on the next agenda. Brings us to item F, presentations and or updates. Number 5, Mr. Furnace LeBlanc, CEO, Ochsner Bayou Region, and Mr. Leonard St. Pierre, Lafourche Parish Hospital Service District Number 2, to present their 2023 annual report.
Hello, how y'all doing? My name is Furnace LeBlanc. Like you said, I'm the regional CEO for Ochsner, and I want to review a document, the annual report that we have. I think that everyone should have a copy of it. I will go over it at a high level. So let me go ahead and get started. So who is Ochsner St. Anne? Right now, we employ approximately 400 dedicated staff members at the hospital. With that, we have 6 physical locations operated by approximately 65 staff members and 34 locally based physicians and APPs or mid-levels. I'm proud to say that in '23, we were able to add 8 new providers that expanded our outpatient services, and I'll give you a few examples of what those 8 providers represent. So cardiology, endocrinology, psychiatry, OBGYN, urology, neurology, and pain management. This is something that we work on every day, and it's something that we benefit from by being part of Ochsner and bringing these specialists and doctors into the central Lafourche area. This goes along with our commitment to make sure that we have what we need at St. Anne so that folks of this region can get the care locally, right? That's something that we work on every day. Because of what we have in terms of providers and our great staff, last year, we were able to take care of 33 or almost 34,000 patients trusted us with their care last year. Underneath that, at the departmental level, we were able to take care of nearly 65,000 clinic visits. That's a 16% increase year over year, so clinics at St. Anne doing really well. 21,000, almost 22,000 emergency room visits. That's a 3% increase year over year. And in the outpatient areas, that's the number is a little bit staggering, but it's just over 250,000 or 253,000 outpatient tests performed last year. So a lot of good hard work by our folks at the hospital taking care of the people of Central Lafourche and Lafourche Parish. I want to get into patient experience just for a minute, something that we're really proud of, that's big on our priority list, something we work on every day. Where we are, y'all, we're top. We're one of the best in the country in patient experience, and I'll go over some of the lists that on the inpatient side, we're ranked in the top 10% of hospitals nationally, along with our emergency department, also ranked in the top 10%. Outpatient services ranked in the top 5% nationally, and it gets even better. We have our clinics that are ranked in the top 2% nationally. So This is not a flash in the pan where it's 1 week and we were done, or a month. This is sustained high-level performance over the course of years that they've been doing at the hospital. So really good work by our folks and our providers at the hospital. Look, I want to just for a second talk about our arrangement and relationship with our local HSD. Because of the partnership with the HSD, we're able to provide outpatient or outreach services that last year touched 4,700 Lafourche residents, and this is at no cost to those residents. They had access to health screenings, vaccinations, and education. So it's a program that we've had in place for several years now that we're really proud of, that frankly we're mimicking in other areas right now. So it's a great program, and I appreciate the partnership of our HSD. Our economic impact across at St. Anne, the salaries and benefits, which total up about $35 million last year. If you roll that forward in terms of the impact, we estimate that we've had a $140 million impact to this region. We've also invested just this year already nearly $500,000 into the building that we occupy down the street. And since the affiliation in 2006 between the HSD and Ochsner, we've invested $27.4 million in the facility and the equipment in that hospital. Also, something that's important to us is that when we do business, we want to make sure that we do business local. Just last year, we've spent to local vendors and contractors probably in the neighborhood of $5.1 million going into local businesses in Lafourche Parish. Now, I want to go over some of the awards and recognitions that we've received over the past year. Something I'm really proud of, and it seems like these things just come every week. It seems like the pace of these just keep getting faster and faster. This is both local awards, and it goes all the way into the national, being nationally recognized as St. Anne. So the first one on here I want to talk about is Ochsner St. Anne was presented the 2023 Business of the Year Award by the Lafourche Chamber of Commerce. We were really proud of that award and thankful for the recognition. Also, we have the Ochsner St. Anne Family Birthing Unit has gained the Louisiana Birth Ready Designation Plus and the Louisiana Gift Designation Plus. It's really taken what we do in L&D and it takes it to the next level, right? It's just enhancing the level of care and the way we provide the care in those L&D units. This next one's a big one. It's a national award that we received. We were recognized by Newsweek as one of the best maternity hospitals in the U.S. in 23, and this really goes into what we are focused on at the hospital. And this is big investments over the past couple of years that we've made in renovating and expanding our labor and delivery department to really make it a state-of-the-art labor and delivery for the mamas and the babies of this area. So we're proud of the work that was done in there. Ochsner St. Anne, like I was talking about patient experience, received the Guardian of Excellence Award from Press Ganey, who issues all of the patient experience surveys, for being in the top 5% for multiple reporting sessions. Also, St. Anne was recognized by Becker's Hospital Reviews, a big healthcare industry magazine, as a top hospital for care transitions. So y'all, this is, I could stand up here and talk for a long time about all the great stuff that's happening at the hospital. This is only a summary. I think it's obvious. I'm really proud of what we do at the hospital day in and day out, and I'm proud of the people that provide the care, because I'm not there providing the actual touching the patient, providing the care. We have great providers and great staff. So I'm proud of what we have, and I hope that y'all feel the same about what we have down the street at St. Anne. We have a really good hospital. That's all I have prepared.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
We have none. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank y'all.
Brings us to item 6, presentation by the Marketing and Promotion Board on the Diversion Project.
Good afternoon. I'm going to hand you all these packets. I broke the cardinal rule. Hey.
Thank you, ma'am.
if you want it as part of the minutes, if you have enough.
Yes. It might be updated because we included a couple of Okay, my name is Samantha Carroll. I'm the Executive Director of the Louisiana Seafood Promotion and Marketing Board underneath the office of our Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser. I was here, several months ago, and our presentation kind of had a little glitch with the audio, but, I'm always told that it's nice to be here and keep reminding people of our mission. So with that, I'll go ahead and play the video, please.
I'm Norman Robinson. The mid-Baratarian sediment diversion will go down as the greatest man-made disaster in the history of our state.
This Baratarian diversion will destroy our way of life.
They're doing something that is going to harm Plaquemines Parish.
And there'll be really nothing left in the marine resources in that area.
You can't put a dollar value on a culture and a heritage.
The Mid-Baratarian Diversion Project will make a vain attempt to restore coastal wetlands by diverting sediment and water from the Mississippi River into nearby marshes.
I'm Billy Nungesser, Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Louisiana, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Mississippi River diversion. Back in 2011, the first meeting was held in Plaquemines Parish when I was parish president about this diversion. At the time, the cost was estimated to be $250 million. And we were concerned that it wouldn't lower storm surge to Plaquemines Parish or the coast of Louisiana. Today I've learned not only will it not lower storm surge, but the incredible harm it will do to our seafood and fisheries industry across Louisiana.
Louisiana is noted as being sportsman's paradise, and it's not freshwater fish that we're noted for. We have some of the best fishing in the world, inshore and offshore, but it's saltwater based, and our fishing industries just can't survive in polluted river water. Simple as that. All our economy is based, especially here in St. Bernard Parish, is based on our saltwater fishing industries.
On the southern end of the parish and on the east bank side of Plaquemines Parish, that is their livelihood. We have about 20%, 30% of the seafood that comes out of Plaquemines Parish for the state of Louisiana.
Our oysters have touched every table and every restaurant throughout this state. Imagine walking into your favorite restaurant and not seeing shrimp, fish, or oysters on the menu. What about the people? The people won't be there either because the product is not there.
This master plan that CPRA has developed has been pushed down the throats of the folks that live in St. Bernard and Plaquemines. Both parishes have voted against this diversion. Both parishes understand the tragedy that's going to come out of this. When you're losing your fisheries, second only to Alaska, and we're going to lose that. When you look at the apex predator in the Gulf, in our Gulf, which is the dolphin, and you start losing that, you're going to lose an entire ecosystem.
I am a Takpa Ishak Shibasha. My name is Rosina Philippe, and I'm council elder here for the tribe. We are indigenous to this region. My people have been here for countless centuries. I don't think that it's going to be beneficial for the continuing inhabitation for my people here in this village. There's other life forms that live here with us that will either die or move out. So I don't believe that when they were planning this project, our life way here in this village was a consideration at all.
As oystermen, we've been about coastal restoration. We're all about coastal restoration. But this diversion will be nothing but coastal destruction. You will be taking everything that our precious seafood industry needs to survive in its larval stages and everything and wipe it out.
One of my biggest issues with CPRA is the power that they think they have. They think they supersede any laws for the state of Louisiana and federal government, and they totally disregard any kind of power or any laws that we have locally. They are going to destroy our parish, and they don't care. We're collateral damage.
Thousands of people from the families will all be affected by it dramatically. They will lose a way of life, a livelihood they grew up in. This whole community would just disappear.
Well, that's an existential threat to the ecosystem. There'll be nothing left. I think there are studies that show that the dolphins will become extinct in the Barataria Bay 10 years after they're opened up.
The CPRA and the Corps, the Environmental Impact Statement, states they're going to raise water levels, they're going to cause flooding issues. How can you take money from the BP fines from the Deepwater Horizon oil spill that was meant to make things right from the damage that was done from the BP oil spill to further damage the environment, the same environment that was damaged by BP? How is that possible? That is a question that needs to be answered.
Well, there's not much to say about it because we don't have the information. They've refused to get that to us. They don't have it. They haven't done the proper studies. They can't produce it. There's multiple and many different studies that need to be done for this project to move forward on the federal side.
CPRA already admits it's going to kill our brown shrimp, our speckled trout, our redfish, our oysters. They're already admitting the damage it's going to cause. Think about when they opened up the Bonnie Carey Spillway in 2019, how long the water flowed for. The wildlife and the federal government admitted that the fresh water destroyed our fishing that year in May and June.
The problem with this project is it was all done by computer modeling. Okay? No one knows for sure. A project of this scale has never been done before.
I'm proud to say that I'm a third-generation oyster farmer. And I'm proud to see my son in the business as well. And I have a grandson that should be fifth generation. But I'm afraid our generations are going to end with my son at the fourth generation, and that saddens me deeply.
The state CPRA 50-year master plan, you will never see the land because it's all lives below the water. Our plan would be able to dredge and build in 5 years land you can walk on, land that will protect the communities that are along our coastline.
At 11 o'clock on a Friday night, they got a waiver of the Marine Mammal Act. Never been done before for a big project. Instead of studying what this diversion is going to do to our seafood and our fisheries, they're going to monitor for 5 years after they spend $3 billion. Wouldn't you want to know up front the harm you're going to do? When I made that comment to the head of CPRA, I was told if we did the study, we probably couldn't build it. Well, maybe we should. Louisiana deserves better. Louisiana deserves to take this money that was given to us to fix the coast after the BP oil spill and actually save the coast, not destroy the seafood industry. We deserve better.
After hearing about all the bad this diversion will cause, how can anyone think this is a good idea? We deserve better. To learn more about the damage this will cause, go to dirtywater.louisianaseafood.com.
Also, I'd like to just note that in your packets, and I don't know if this was in the last packets that I presented to you because they've grown, on the left side, they have a fact sheet. And in this fact sheet, it has line items of their budget in addition to quotes from their environmental impact study that was made public. And you can see that they are pointing out the permanent and negative impacts to our shrimp and to our oysters. But there's nothing other to mitigate that right now in their plan other than just funding the fishermen. And I believe it was around $316 million that they were saying they were going to set aside to pay off these businesses. And that's just a drop in the bucket compared to what these businesses bring in together as a whole for the state and for our economy. I can say too that I've sat in and witnessed plenty of CPRA board meetings, and I've attended a few times for the Lieutenant Governor, and there are so many great things that the CPRA is doing. I've seen so many projects with their dredging and with restoring coastal public areas, but this is the one project that we are adamant to try to just get other people to listen to us, to our fishermen, and just consider all sides that are being affected. And with that, does anybody have any questions?
Anyone has any questions? Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much for the presentation. Okay, it brings us to item G, legal advisor report. None. Brings us to item H, engineers and/or architect reports. I don't see any in the audience tonight. Amazing. Okay, it brings us to item I, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, etc. So we have a name already on here. Number 7, Ms. Kim Chauvin to address the council regarding the diversion project, and I guess you just follow up after that?
Yes. Sir.
Okay.
Okay. Kim Chauvin, 5248 Bayou-Side Drive, Chauvin, Louisiana. First off, I want to let you know that Terrebonne Parish, as I'm a council person there, has unanimously passed a resolution opposing this freshwater diversion project due to the travesty that it will cause not only the seafood industry, but the recreational sector. And that's one thing that hasn't been talked about. You know, you can have all the hatcheries you want, but if you have that fresh water coming in, it's not going to do much good. A scientist told us that in 5 years it will reach Terrebonne Parish, where once it happens in Plaquemines, we would probably be the hub, but it won't last long. So the things that she just talked about with the $316 million putting on the side for the fisheries industry, that is not counting marinas that are going to be destroyed. That's not counting hardware stores and all the other, I guess, the weight behind the commercial fisheries and the recreational fishermen. And I knew that it's been a big deal that people have said that, well, if we don't go forward with it, then the state may have to pay $1 billion. Well, the seafood industry is worth $2.4 billion. The recreational sector on the output part of it is $1.1 billion. So you're going to take those two, $3.5 billion, and you're going to lose that annually? This state would lose. So the impact on the shrimp fishery, you know, even in the environmental study, it showed that it is going to bring devastation, permanent damage to the brown shrimp fisheries that we will not come back from, and will be reoccurring on an annual basis. They talked about the 2019 part of Bonnet-Carré Spillway and the Morganza opening up to release the water. That water did a lot of damage, and so the federal government sent down money, but it's never enough to cover the losses that are going to happen at that part. One of the things that we are not looking at is the water that comes down from the Mississippi River. We have a problem with it already. Imagine throwing that water into our estuaries. It's the same disgusting water that is bringing a big dead zone, like 5 times the size of Rhode Island. We have a problem here. It's why they have a federal group together to try and put down some of the stuff that's happening on farms. So when you're looking at the parts that are concerning to us as a fishery, but are concerning to us as a parish, I don't want to see our culture devastated, our heritage and our culture. I don't want to see the commercial fisheries going. I don't want to see recreation fisheries going. Tourism is huge in our area. We will lose a lot of that. And that is a big concern for me. There are ways to do this. They talked about some of it. I've been talking with the head of CPRA, which thank God we have someone in there that is now talking to us and letting us know some things. But they're talking about rocking the islands. They're talking about, I know Terrebonne just passed that, where we passed a resolution for rocking our islands. The other part of it is to look at something different than this big, huge freshwater diversion project, which would bring in a lot more dredging projects. It'll bring in minor freshwater diversion, but not this big. So I would ask you that you look at this resolution and really put forth some energy into it to pass it, because I really fear what will happen to each of these parishes along the coast when we lose all of this, because you don't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bo, you got your light on, go ahead.
I'd just like to reserve my questions for the item when it comes up. I have questions, I'm just waiting on the item.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah.
Hold on. All right, you got it now? Nope, don't press it again. Now you got to press it again?
Press it again.
Waiting on you to press it. All right. Red light, go.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Chauvin, thank you for coming. You're a member of the Terrebonne Parish Council, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, did Terrebonne Parish address this?
Yes, we did. We had, the Seafood Board had came a month or two, I think, before. We looked at everything. I put everything out to a lot of the council. We talked about it. And like I told them, once you lose it, you do not get it back.
Okay, Terrebonne went?
Unanimous.
Unanimous. What about Grand Isle?
Grand Isle passed it. St. Bernard passed it. Plaquemines definitely passed it. And Lafitte, Representative Kerner said that if they didn't, that I was coming in next. He's on vacation right now as we speak, and he asked me to come down in that area to do the same.
There's no doubt that something may need to be done, but if you look at the costs from when they first started till now, it's out of sight. And talk to the real fishermen. Don't talk to a fisherman and we call that a warrior. Talk to a real fisherman, whether he's young or old or whatever, and he'll tell you, look, the spillway, I could remember when the spillway was open, how long it took, and then they closed it.
Mm-hmm.
It took forever to bring it back to where it was at. So it's almost you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But if you got fishermen, I'm going to go down with the fishermen as long as I live, because I was a fisherman at one time. And if you look at the economy on what all these people bring in, it's not a nickel. It's a lot of money. So I'm looking at the parishes that went and opposed this. And I think I can tell you this, 15 years ago, not one councilman up here knows what I'm going to tell you. Mr. Chasson was in charge of coastal zone. They were running that pipeline with to do some erosion and all. They were supposed to come all the way to LaRose. You know where they came from Lafourche? 20 miles. And you know what? Lafourche put up $1 million and we never got it back. $1 million. And they kept it and it stayed over there and we didn't get nothing out of it. So all I could say is that appreciate you coming, and everybody just vote your conscience when it comes up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lorraine.
Ms. Gilda Cooks, if you'd come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Gilda Cooks. I live in Thibodaux, Louisiana, 124 Biloxi Court in Crepe Myrtle subdivision. On the 3rd of June, my daughter had a serious accident. Thank God she came out alive. I'm trying not to get emotional. She's 24 years old. She was driving down Talbot, and a gentleman out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, very sweet guy, coming out of the Marydale subdivision. He didn't understand that it wasn't a four-way intersection. He's a veteran. He just went out in front of her. She was like, we locked eyes together because I knew either he was going to be going, I was going to be going. But thank God they both walked out alive. I have pictures of what happened, and she's still suffering. I'm sure this gentleman has some problems. A few years ago, I grew up in the Marydale subdivision area in Thibodaux. I have brothers, nephews. I still have family back there. With all that's going on, I hate to lose somebody in my family. It can only help to do something at that red light. When I grew up, Y'all know Tyrone Brown, he was on this council. My next door neighbor, he lost his life there. Something needs to be done. As I've been calling around all this month trying to figure out, who do we ask? Everybody in the community knows something. I talked to the fire department, they say they cutting 2-3 bodies out a month. You know, can something please be done at that intersection to save the lives of the people in that community? I'm asking, I'm begging, please, do something. It can only help, it can't hurt. We would be saving lives.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bo Melvin has a question for you.
Coming out of Marydale, are there reflective bumps that, as you lead up to the stop sign, if you headed towards Talbot from Marydale, from the back of Marydale, headed towards Talbot, do you know if there's the reflective bumps, like let you know that the stop sign's coming or not? I don't know. I don't think there are. Okay, because I know 3180, the 4-lane down to by 32, 35, I ran that light once, before there was a light, before there was reflectors and anything, and I hit a lowboy truck and it spun me around, and it was pretty bad. Now, we're talking about a 4-lane versus a 2-lane, okay? But what they did there was they ended up with a light. Again, it's a 4-lane. However, what they did too is they put the reflectors to let you know your car started hitting something before you got to the stop sign. That may be an option, because I had relatives who were turned over at the Marydale intersection who flipped over. Somebody coming out of Marydale, he got whacked and he spun around and my relatives got rolled over. So it seems to be, everything I'm hearing is coming out of Marydale. I think if we can have some reflectors put in 2 sets before Marydale, when your car is vibrating, you know you're hitting them, you know something's up, and what is it? So it's gonna, in my opinion, it's like psychology. Hey, there's a stop sign coming, right? And I'm speaking from a guilty conscience. When I ran that stop sign, I hit a lowboy truck, okay? So in other words, I've been there, done that, and had relatives who got hurt in Thibodaux. So I would suggest looking at possibly putting some reflectors to let people hit something. I mean, nice rows of them, to where you know something's coming up and you have to slow down. You can't just speed through it. So if that's what people are doing.
I think it's more than that. I think it's, okay, there's cane field all around it. There's these 4 big old signs that say an intersection. I think that's blocking. It's just a confused area. And like I say, even if there was if the red light, for whatever reason, I don't know why it would be a problem to put there with all that's going on there, even if there was a roundabout, it's confused. Like I said, the man that hit that ran out from my daughter, he was from out of town. He didn't understand whether it was a 4-way intersection or 2. So I think it's more than just, it's serious there. It's been confusing people for years. And I think it needs more than just, it's confusing. It's 4 ways. 2 keep going and 2 have to stop. It's always the 2 that have to stop. And that's why everybody's saying they need to know to stop.
Okay.
And they need to know when to go.
Mitch, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to let you know, at the meeting before last, we had passed a resolution to approve a contract with Principal Engineering. We actually met, Dylan and I, with them, and this is one of the intersections they're going to be looking at. So, and offer, if there are any solutions, and what we would need to do there to appropriately make it safe, so.
Thank you, Mitch. Mr. Perk, you have the floor, sir.
Also, I know when this ordinance came up, Councilman Allerby mentioned that South Central Planning was doing a study on this intersection. Have we received any info back from them, or have anybody inquired? I mean, that may be our first, we've got info on that?
Hold on. I'll let the J go next. Mr. Brumfield, you have the floor, sir.
So I did try to contact South Central Planning twice, and I left messages twice. I received no phone calls. Even on the way here, I tried to call them, and I received no phone calls back. So I don't know what's it going to take. When did your daughter get in the accident? Was it a Thursday or Wednesday?
It was yes, that's another thing. When we out there, I think she got on that Wednesday. Everybody telling me the day before.
Yeah, the Thursday, they had an accident there too. Also.
Thursday they have, it's like back to back. I mean, it's been going on for years. When we lost Tyrone, I was like, okay, but this time, something needs to be done. I almost lost my child.
That's the same thing I felt. And I wasn't in office then, but when we lost former parish councilman Tyrone, I just knew that something was going to be done because, I mean, what could it have taken? Someone that sat on the council, present here, sat on the council, nothing done at all, nothing.
So I came to find out today, you know, I need some answers so I don't know how far I have to take this.
I do know that they did at one point have the reflectors on the road, but because of the traffic, they all were pushed to just on the side. They have been, because I guess because of they weren't sticking to the road, they just all pushed to the side. I do know that the signs there are blind spots. Sometimes the cane is blind spots. I do know the speed limit there is 30 miles per hour, but for some reason people are not driving 30 miles per hour on Talbot. So but by the time you pull out, you're looking, you're thinking that nothing's coming, but when you pull out, cars coming 60 miles per hour around the curve. So I didn't see, I mean, I thought that a four-way stop would prevent, you know, the accidents, but I guess not.
No, it hasn't stopped.
Because the council voted that it may cause more accidents. But I thought that if we put something in place to try to prevent the accidents there, I mean, but.
School about to start, and those buses, you know, we got kids walking from Thibodeau High that live back there that walk home after their football practices and stuff. It's bad.
One night I was coming, going to Walmart, and the car, I witnessed an accident there. This guy I was coming, going towards the neighborhood Walmart, the grocery store, on Talbot. I watched. This guy van was almost, Imperial Land in the neighborhood, he was almost in the middle of the cane field. In the middle of the cane field. It's just a dangerous intersection. And I keep hearing people say that, well, it's people they're just too impatient. They can't, I don't know what to say.
When I was trying to
figure out what to do, Facebook.
Everybody say, oh yeah, that's horrible. Everybody that called on the phone, that's horrible. Make some noise, that's horrible. So what is being done?
Very good. Mr. Brumfield, you done?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I can relinquish to Mr. Perk.
Mitch, can we read?
Hold on. I gotta wait for, DJ, can you? Yeah, thank you. All right, Mr. Perk, you got it.
Hey, can we reach out to South Central Planning just to kind of see where they're at? And then, or I don't know if we're going to scratch what they're in the process of versus principal engineering, just kind of see if we've got, you know, where exactly we're going to go so we can provide them with some answers.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
So is there a timeline on that?
We'll reach out to them, and maybe, I think Dylan's got his mic on, he might be able to answer that.
It's showing up as Savanya, so I'm a little confused.
Sorry.
All right, Dylan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. So we did meet with the traffic engineer, as Mitch spoke with about earlier. He does know the engineer that's working on the Safe Road program that this would be a part of. So he was going to get a timeline for us and also doing the study for us at that time. So he's going to know more in the next week or so. We obviously don't want to duplicate our efforts, right? But we do feel like a private entity would be much quicker than relying on a grant. So in essence, to get this done quickly, we have hired an engineer, but he was also going to speak to the engineer that's working on it through the grant process and give us the best foot forward. But we don't know enough yet to comment on it. So I apologize for that, but hopefully next week we know more.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, ma'am.
Every 2 weeks,
Yeah, or Yeah, or you can keep following up with DeJay, because the administration may feed him information on what's going on with the traffic study. And, you know, some of us, like myself, I'm not interested in taking any action till a traffic study's done, because I work those scenes, and we have more crashes at red lights than we have at non-red lights at four-way stops. So it's to say, you know, I know everybody has their different opinions, and they'll both throughout. Until somebody says do it a certain way, I'm not going to be on board, because you may cause more accidents based on my experience for the last 32 years. So anyway, I would encourage you to just reach out to DeJay, because he may be able to give you out information as it's coming out. Hopefully it'll start pouring out pretty soon. Mr. Brumfield, you have the floor, sir.
Ms. Cooks, thank you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for engaging us, absolutely.
Mr. Arthur Coleman, if you'd come to the podium, sir. State your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Arthur Coleman Sr. My address is 193 St. Patrick Street, Raceland. My issue is about illegal dumping that we have going on in the Raceland area. I talked to Mr. Bob Passman. He came out this morning. My son got some trash in the backyard that need to be removed. And the issue with that was there's a line right there where the truck couldn't get into the property to get in there. So he's trying to work on that for us. But the other issue that I have about the illegal dumping that's going on in the back of his property right there, they got a ditch running right there, and what they're doing, they're dumping right there. And the parish is coming out, they got the guys coming out, they're picking up and cleaning this ditch up, and they're putting all the stuff on top of that pile that my son has right there. And they put a lot of it up there. And I asked Mr. Passman about that. I said, my son gonna be responsible for that? He said he probably will. And I don't think that's fair. Not with illegal dumpers, what they done dump tires there, they mattresses, they got all kind of stuff they done put there. All that stuff is put on the road in the ditch, and the guys come out, I don't know who tell them to do it. They come out and they put it on top of that pile. You know? And he said that they didn't have no way to clean that up. You know, so they just put it on top of his pile, and it become his problem, which I don't think that's fair. You know, he got to clean up other people's stuff. You know, they dump in, and just over the weekend they dumped some more stuff there. You know, they dumping garbage bags there, and I don't know why they do that. You know, they got garbage bags that go in the garbage cans. The garbage bags all busted up and everything right there. All that got to be cleaned up. You know. And that's the issue that I have, you know, that why he has to be responsible for cleaning up somebody else's mess. They got tires, they put that, the guys, they put it on top of their pile. They got mattresses, sofas, all kind of stuff. Right now they got plywood, some people to dump in that ditch, and they got, like I said, those garbage bags, more tires they put there, you know. And I don't know who's giving the parish, okay, the guys to come out and dump and put that on top of their pile. It shouldn't be that way.
Anyone have any comments on this? This is not the same one we've been talking about for a while, is it? The same location where they said that the homeowner had started the pile and people just threw it down?
Right.
Mr. Arabi, you have the floor, sir.
I understand what he's saying, because I passed there yesterday and I saw the pile that he's talking about, the mattress and everything else, and I saw that the parish did go there and clean some trash out the ditch. I guess to the administration, is there any way possible that we could possibly get our local contractor to go make maybe 1 or 2 grabs of the stuff that somebody else might have put, so that we can be on even Stevens with him? I understand what he's saying, and I agree with him that, you know, of course it looks like a dump there, so that's why everybody's going to dump over there.
Yeah, dumping it, right.
But if is it possible that we could get the grabber truck maybe to go get 1 or 2 grabs that, you know, that the parish went push up on this property from the ditches?
Right.
And I'm just asking, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I can check into it and see if that can happen, if the parish can get the trash truck to go get 1 or 2 grabs of the trash that you're talking about.
Put up there.
And after that, y'all going to need to clean it up, because
Well,
it's going to come right back again.
we got someone that's going to be doing that.
As long as it stays there, it's going to be a trash pile.
Right. We got somebody that's going to be cleaning it up, but that's the issue.
I got people sending me pictures of people going through trash on some other people's property everywhere, you know.
Right.
So what you have right there is bad, and it needs to be cleaned up. But I'll see what I can do to try to see if I can help you with a couple of grabs of that stuff out there that you claiming that somebody else might have dumped there.
Yeah, I know.
But once we clean it, once we make one grab and get it cleaned up, that's gonna be it. You know, y'all gonna have to see about getting it cleaned up. Because as long as it stays there, we're gonna have some problems.
Yeah, we do have someone to clean it up. You know, just the idea you can't get in there right now because of that line running across there. So we're trying to figure out, Mr. Passman, you see we're working with that.
Yeah, I know he went back there today because I was told he was back there today.
You went back there today?
Okay. So I'll get with the administration and see if there's anything that we could possibly do to help you out with that a little bit right there. And then if not, well, I'll see what happens after. Thank you.
And also about the illegal dumping, I live on St. Patrick to the front right up there on the cross street. People have been dumping tires up. They got tires there right now.
People dump tires everywhere.
And I don't know who's going to pick those tires up. Anybody pick them up? Nobody picks them up?
We got to address that with Mr. Shanklin.
Because it's getting out of hand.
We can keep a crew out on the road every day picking up tires.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And a simple deer camera will catch them.
Right.
But,
Thank you, Mr. Araby. Dylan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. So what we will do is I'll make sure that Mr. Passman has accurate pictures of it first thing tomorrow. If it continues to happen in the ditch, then we'll take the necessary action that we can. I will agree with Mr. Araby on the fact that the quicker you clean this up, the quicker people are going to stop dumping there. So that would be a big aid to us and an aid to you as well. And we'll look into the idea of getting a grapple truck. We'll look at our past pictures, and if we can prove where, you know, this was illegal dumped and it wasn't yours, then we'll do the best we can to help you out. Again, not guaranteeing anything. Let me have that conversation with our contractor and see what we can get done and see if he can even reach the debris where it is. So, but we will make sure we at least have accurate pictures of the current pile, and that if there's more illegal dumping and that it's not stuff from your pile going in the ditch, then we can confirm that and take action appropriately.
Once you get it cleaned up, and my son we're gonna put a fence right there in the back, we're gonna run a fence across the property, and hopefully that'll stop some of that, you know. Yeah. I mean, it won't be coming on his property, I mean, but they could probably continue dumping that ditch and all, but he's gonna put a fence there, so that'll kind of stop everything from coming on his property. So thank y'all.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
All right, that's it, Ms. Corlines. So that brings us to item J, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. I'll now entertain a motion to open public hearing. So moved by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Araby. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 8, ordinance amending ordinance number 6896 that declared property as surplus belonging to Lafourche Parish government, authorizing the disposal of surplus property, authorizing the advertising of surplus items for sale, authorizing the acceptance of the highest qualified bidders, and any remaining items that are deemed to have no value will be properly discarded, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Shesova, administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance 8? Second call, public input, ordinance at number 8. Last and final call for public input. Anyone from the council? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 9, ordinance declaring property as surplus belonging to Lafourche Parish government, authorizing the disposal of surplus property, authorizing the advertising of surplus items for sale, authorizing acceptance of the highest qualified bidders, and any remaining items that are deemed to have no value will be properly discarded, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Shesova, administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 9? Second call, public input for the ordinance at number 9. Last and final call, anyone has any input on the ordinance at number 9? Any council member? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 10, ordinance approving a servitude agreement between SRJK Properties LLC, represented by its manager, Robert Ogravwa, in the parish of Lafourche in the Thibodeau area, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration, second by Mr. Perk. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 10? Second call, public input, ordinance at number 10. Last and final call, anyone from the public wants to comment on the ordinance at number 10? There being none, anyone from the council wants to discuss? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 11, ordinance declaring the intent of Lafourche Parish government to acquire full ownership of the adjudicated property located at 800 South Acadia Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301, assessment number 002054200, and authorizing the parish president to sign and execute and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Perk for the administration, second by Mr. Roderick. Anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 11? Second call, public input, ordinance at number 11. Last and final call, anyone from the public would like to comment on the ordinance at number 11? There be none. Anyone from the council? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. I'll now entertain a motion to close public hearing. So moved by Mr. Roderick, second by Mr. Perk. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item K, proposed ordinances. Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. Proposed ordinance is number 12. Proposed ordinance approving NOLA Title Group LLC and SRI Services Incorporated to publicly advertise and auction the adjudicated property located at 118 West 213 South Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, assessment number 0102025900, with a minimum starting bid of $26,420.41, and authorize the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Number 13, proposed ordinance approving a lease agreement between Anby LLC and Lafourche Parish Government for leasing the premises located at 525 Justin Street, Lockport, 70374, to house the Lafourche Parish Coroner's Office, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otan for the administration. Number 14, proposed ordinance providing for the 2024 supplemental appropriation 24-006 within the 2024 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget, increasing the budget for the coroner, district court, Head Start, capital projects, and deobligate culvert project, Buford and Market Street, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions provided by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Otan for the administration. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Melvin. Brings us to item L, resolutions. Number 15, resolution opposing the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority's proposed Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion Project. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. This was deferred from the 6/11/24 LPC meeting. Second by Mr. Araby. Anyone from the council wants to discuss this item? Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Sure, thank you. I have a few questions. Even though I reside in Thibodaux, I'm originally from LaRose, and look, I'm all about the fishermen and the land and a lot of things, but it seems like this is water versus land. I know that we're paying for the sins of what people did 100 years ago with engineering and trying to levee off the Mississippi, which I think has some great benefits, of course. However, I think it's had some great detriment, too, to land loss, among other things, with river silt and things keeping our marshes intact. I know I just have questions, and I'd like to hear more from another side, because, like I said, I think the fishermen, especially the trawlers, have been getting a raw deal ever since they were forced to put TEDs on their trawls, okay? Simply because I just think that at the end of the day, the feds want to regulate the fishermen out of business. And that's my personal opinion based on what I see in all these, the whole country's overregulated, okay? But, so I am on the fisherman side, and, but I know that without land, you don't have residents. So that's kind of the quandary I'm in, and I have more questions about it. And I'm not for just giving a project a nod because it sounds and smells good when I don't know enough about it and get some questions answered. I know you can't have culture without a land. You know, as far as the dolphins in Barataria, I mean, we used to have a camp on Grand Isle, you know. I mean, dolphins, they're going to swim where they're going to survive. You're not going to rope them off, and they're not going to be extinct. They may vanish from Barataria with too much salt water, fresh water. I just know I have a lot of questions in my head, and I'd like to know more, because I think years ago when I was a kid in high school, they said by 2050, and I was commuting to Nichols, as well as going to Nichols from LaRose, they said by 2050 the golf's going to be in LaRose. I'll never forget when they said that. But I'm not saying that's what they said. Don't know all the stats on the study, but again, I'm just concerned about water, but I'm also concerned about way of life. So but that's kind of where I am. I'm kind of no man's land, because I know how government is, and we've seen a lot of government failures. So,
So I apologize, Bo. Ms. Carleen handled this to me after I already recognized you. I didn't realize that 2 people had filled out to talk. Normally, we only discuss them on ourselves and bring it to a vote. But we do have 2 people that filled out the blue forms before the meeting. So, Joe, if you'd like to come up and address the council, your comments on this resolution?
Yeah, I got a presentation.
I'll tell you what, somebody wants to, let's do a 5-minute break. I don't think we were all anticipating this. I got a motion on the floor by Councilman Melvin, take a 5-minute break, second by Mr. Perk. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes, 9 yeas, 0 nays.
Presentation.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes, 9 yeas and 0 nays. Yeah, everybody's in. Brings us back to item 15. I apologize. We do apparently have a presentation. Joe, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. As y'all know, I was here earlier with this side of my lapel representing y'all as the state legislator, but this time I'm on this side, Restore or Retreat, my other daytime job, which is basically a nonprofit. I'll get into it. But what y'all saw earlier was great state-sponsored taxpayer propaganda on trying to get rid of an important project, and I'm going to give you all a presentation to give you all the other side of why this project is so important, and hopefully answer some of Bo's questions that or Councilman Melvin's questions on this. So anyway, I titled it Restore or Retreat, or Profit and Retreat, and what I mean by that is the nonprofit I work for is if we don't restore the coast, we will have to retreat to higher lands, whereas the people that you saw basically are very nearsighted, looking at extremely at the short term, not at the long-term sustainability of our coast, our community, and our culture. And basically they're profit motivated on the seafood industry, primarily started by the oyster industry at Plaquemines Parish, and that basically propagated through our fantastic Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, one of the greatest ambassadors for Louisiana, who I have a great relationship with the exception of this one topic that we're now talking about. And we keep it very compartmentalized, and on occasion, maybe once every 2 months, we get together, I go to his office, and we have very spirited discussions explicitly about dolphins and the diversions, and it's a very healthy discussion. But he's on one side representing Plaquemines Parish more than anything, and I'm on the other side representing, of course, first and foremost District 54, but all of South Louisiana, all of the Bayou region, both the Terrebonne Basin and the Barataria Basin. So our motto is committed to using science to preserve our coast community and culture. And basically we're a nonprofit 20 years ago with a membership of over 250 businesses here in our area, kind of like Apache, Loop, Greater Lafourche Port Commission, National Wildlife Federation, Conoco, Manson Gulf, the Bollinger Family Foundation, McElhaney Foundations, and citizens like y'all, over 250 people. Miss Polly and I, who's here, who's going to speak next, we're housed at the Nicholls State campus that's currently building a coastal center for research, and that'll be, their tagline will be closest to the coast. Looking forward to moving in there. Our mission, our primary mission is, as it says up there, expedite the implementation of aggressive large-scale restoration projects to protect this irreplaceable region. And that's exactly what the Mid-Barataria sediment diversion is. Next slide. There we go. So basically, I'm going to give you all a term, 2 terms today. One term is called estuarial necrosis. And what does that mean? It means the marsh that's between Bayou Lafourche and the Mississippi River has been going through necrosis, the slow death for about the last 100 years. If I take a tourniquet and put it on your thighs and I start tightening it up, and after a few minutes your foot starts turning blue, and then you start saying, hey, if you leave that tourniquet on there, my toes are going to die. And I say, hey, don't worry, I got a friend. He's part-time in the oyster business, part-time does prosthetic foots. If we have to cut off your foot, we'll cut it off and get you a brand new foot. But the point is wouldn't you say, no, how about you just take off the tourniquet and you let the blood flow through and it'll return back to the way it is. So keep in mind that basically the land we're standing on, that this building's on, that every one of y'all houses is on, was done by alluvial deposition. It was done by the river overflowing its banks and depositing the dirt through a natural process. And basically the marsh that we talk about, Sportsman's Paradise,
wise, great for recreational, great for the seafood industry. Everything that's great about these most productive estuaries that we hold so dearly was done through the fresh water passing in there and creating it for 10,000 years prior to us levying it off. So this is some pictures from Lafitte, where basically it's basically just dirt falling into the water. It's a slow death right now. The other term that I said I would tell you all about is what's called operational management. One thing that they never mention is that diversion has some gates on it. The gates. Well, first of all, this is where it's at. You probably know it. So here we are. I know the laser doesn't work on the TV screen, but basically the Barataria Basin is continuing to open up, continuing to lose marsh. That marsh is actually the spawning ground and growing ground for a lot of the shrimp. And don't think that because fresh water would be in there that they won't have any shrimp. I can tell you that there was a time whenever I was in school that my dad bought a marsh buggy to be able to cordon off an area of a lease that he had and basically put a culvert in it where water could get in and out from only one way. And basically he'd let the water out as much as he could. He'd try to get the post-larval shrimp to flow in the spring and then let it out at low tides and try to keep as much rainwater in there to lower the salinity. So it always, since this has been coming up as an issue, I've called shrimpers. I called A.C. Cooper, actually, who's the president of the Louisiana Shrimp Association. I said, why are they all worried about intrusion of fresh water? I said, I remember my dad wanting lower salinity water to be able to grow the shrimp right behind Golden Meadow. So basically what he said is that at certain times in certain areas, the food source is better for a more rapid growth, so it's not all bad. I'd like to point out the timeline that y'all see on this, on the left side of the chart. This started in 1984. 40 years ago to the day, pretty much, and this has been a project that's been talked about and looked at for 40 years. 2001 is when they got really serious about it, and you know, recently at our Restorer Retreat annual meeting, we had Gary Graves there, and he talked about the timeline of CPRE, Hurricane Katrina coming in, and where CPRE was established. Basically, it took out politics out of coastal restoration. It focused on the science, and this was the keystone project that says if you want to have sustainable viability of the Barataria Basin, you need to reconnect it to its lifeblood. Keep in mind, once again, operational management. There's gates on there. The flow from the Mississippi River into the Barataria could be zero. We could keep it zero all year, all the time. It'd be a big waste to build something that expensive and not have no flow. But at least now we have the operational control. We could figure out what works best for the shrimpers, the oystermen, the commercial fishermen, the growing of freshwater marsh. Why am I so worried about freshwater marsh more than anything? I'm worried about it for storm attenuation. After Hurricane Ida, I rode the levees with Wendell Curall, and we saw the debris line, and he told me, he said, look, he said, Hurricane Ida rolled up the marsh, the saltwater marsh that we have like a carpet behind Clovelly Farm and Delta Farm. He said, our levee survived because it took the brunt of the storm surge. But if we have another Ida that came back right after, he says, it would be open to the Gulf of Mexico, and basically waves from the Gulf bashing on our levee, we wouldn't survive it. So from that moment on, he made me realize that recreating the marsh that's between Lafourche Parish's levee line and the Mississippi River is very, very important. Moving on, get ready to pause this if you don't mind. Right there, pause it. What you're looking at is, they talked about the new guy at CPRA, Glenn Leday. I actually took Glenn Leday and Gordy Dove, Tony Alford, and people from Wildlife and Fisheries to Neptune Pass. What you're looking at on the screen is at the top of the screen on the horizon, that is the Mississippi River, with New Orleans north off to the right, and Southwest Pass, or the passes in the Gulf of Mexico to the left. So we're on the east side of the Mississippi River, and this is a break in the river called Neptune Pass, where right now it's flowing at 125,000 cubic feet per second. That's more than the design, the maximum design of mid-Barataria sediment. So mid-Barataria sediment diversion would be a smaller channel than what you see on the right side coming from the river into the marsh. And please note that all of the presentations where they talk about, oh, this nasty Mississippi water is going to ruin everything, what you see when you go to Neptune Pass is green, vibrant marsh growing. Willow trees that are 16 feet high, that are up there, that are 16 feet high, that only are 4 years old. Go ahead and play it so that we could go through it. But you could see the natural process. So that's back at the river. That's the two boats that we were in down at the bottom. And basically, here we're looking at Baie Denise, which was, my understanding is where we're at right now. This was a wide open, decaying marsh area before the river broke open there. And now you can see they talk about, well, diversions don't build no land, they only build it up to the water's level. That's bull. This is Louisiana's newest land that we're walking on. In the background is those willow trees. In a little bit, you can keep playing it. Later in this group of people that we took, hi, you're waving to them. The people that we took, they wanted to go and see those willow trees, and the tour guide said that wasn't there 4 years ago. So, I mean, you got something other than 3 foot high, smooth cored, brackish water, saltwater marsh that's on top of a decaying soil substrate that whenever a storm surge comes in, rips it up. What you really want is those trees, and that's what we want between our areas. So I'm going to close by saying reconnecting our marshes, and which border our hurricane protection levee is the lifeblood waters of the river. That's the important thing, both the Mississippi for Barataria and the Atchafalaya for Terrebonne. And that is our best hope of long-term sustainability in this area. I mean, you really, it reminds me of the story about the goose that laid the golden egg. The guy that had the goose shared the wealth with the town, but some of the town people wanted to come kill the goose. And I think what we got here is, this mid-Barataria sediment diversion is our route back. It's the goose that can lay the golden egg and restore the marsh back to what it was before the levees were there. At least grow it back to what we need. So as Gary Graves, or Congressman Graves, said on Wednesday, last Wednesday, basically let science and not politics continue to dictate our coastal restoration master plan. Hope I sort of convinced y'all that what y'all saw before was propaganda, and really, I mean, there's a lot of science that went into this project, and it is the master plan's cornerstone. The master plan that I approved in the Capitol was for $1.7 billion of primarily BP money to be spent this year, and $430 million of it, almost a third of it, is just to get this project, this mid-Barataria project, further down the road, to be able to reconnect in a controlled manner that we could control and adjust as needed. So it's better to have something than not having nothing. And I really think y'all passing a resolution saying that Lafourche Parish is vehemently oppose this project is a wrong step. And I thank y'all very much for your time. Know that I have our community's best interests in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Miss Polly Glover.
Hey, Council, good evening. First, let me introduce myself to y'all. I am Joe's partner at Restore Retreat. I'm his project coordinator, but I'll give you a little bit of background about myself, okay? I've spent 30 years as a wetlands advocate, advocating for comprehensive protection of our wetlands across the state, all the way east to west. I'm also, in 2020, August of 2020, founded a post-disaster initiative known as Feed the Fleet, bringing it here to Golden Meadow, Louisiana, which is where I met Dr. Orgeron. But let's talk about mid-Barataria for a few minutes. It's a little hard to follow up with Joe's presentation, but I'll give you my own background, okay? I've been widely covered in the media from the local, state to the national level in support of this project. I'll read to you one quote Most recently, the story that ran in the Washington Post titled "Facing the Surge," that is the story of my family's history in our wetlands. In 1955, on the east side of Plaquemines Parish, in a canal known as Bayou Lamuck, my father would build the state's first freshwater diversion for the oystermen. Why did he build it? He built it as a freshwater salinity control structure to move the line of demarcation for the salinity back so that the oystermen would have the opportunity to maintain their oyster crops. He cared about the fishermen as much as I do. Fast forward, as a child growing up, I'd watch your communities disappear into the Gulf as he would come down here to do his work with the State Department of Office of Conservation. I've inherited it from him. The only difference is I haven't been paid to do it till about a year ago, and now I'm here today to advocate for this project. What I want you to see is, and I apologize for only having 2 copies, but this is the current new deltaic build-out of Neptune's Pass. When I first went to that pass in about 5 years ago with the international media here, we came out there, and it really is true what Dr. Orgeron is saying. It is propaganda. It's not polluted water. It's building new land. We have waterfowl nesting there on what was once open water, and you can't deny it. It's not polluted. The dolphins are also there, by the way. We can refute that too. The other part of it is that what I want you to really understand more than anything is it really is a tale of 2 basins. On the east side, that basin, the Breton Basin, is thriving. All you have to do is travel down from Ostrika and look out at the vegetation, and then go on the opposite side, which has been deprived of the sediment from the river. We built the levees, and we can go into the history, which I only have 1 copy, but I've got the perspectives on the build-out of the deltaic plain. It'll take you hours to read it. But in here, it explains the mistakes that we all made. So yes, I'm here. Kim, Sam, y'all know where I stand on this. You know I love my fishermen. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't have the land, we all just need to move. And before I close, I'm going to read to you what was widely, it was my first foray into the media. I really didn't want to be in the media. I was much younger too, by the way. And here's what the quote said. "The decisions we make today will determine the state that our children and grandchildren will inherit. One choice will be to build land with every tool that we have." And when I say every, I mean every. Diversions, barrier islands, marsh creation, dredging, hydrologic reconnection, rock revetments, and every tool we have. The other will be to simply retreat north of the I-10. And that's why I'm here tonight in opposition to this resolution. And by the way, your parish has suffered so much from the land loss that if we don't get that diversion open, can you imagine if we would have had it open 40 years ago? I wouldn't be here tonight. I'd be out of a job. You know, so I would encourage you to do the right thing and not support the resolution. I do want to submit, though, for your record, and if y'all want to make copies, you're welcome to. This is the current report on Neptune's Pass, produced by Dr. Alex Coker. I would encourage you to read it. And then if you have any follow-up questions, I'm sure Joe is willing to give you my contact information. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Glover. All right, I will go back to just the council discussion. Mr. Lorraine, you are up first, sir.
Yeah, I want to ask Joe a couple of questions.
So, yeah, if we could make it brief and only specific to this diversion project, because we kind of wandered out and talked about a lot of other stuff.
It's specific.
Thank you.
It's, you represent Grand Isle?
I do represent Grand Isle.
You represent Summit
I
Terrebonne?
was there whenever they passed a resolution opposing it. There's a list of 21 potential economic detriments because of the Mid-Barataria sediment diversion. I made it clear to David Carmadale and the council that I was a proponent of the diversion, that I would work with every fiber of my being to get them any damages from the mitigation fund, the $316 million. That might be just for the fishermen, but I told them, I said, if you see any one of those 21 enumerated items, I will fight to get you the appropriate economic restitution of it.
Do you represent Summit Terrebonne?
Do not represent any of Terrebonne Parish.
Okay. Now,
I
just
represent Point Ocean on the
I want to
Lafourche
shed
Parish
some
side.
light on when you were talking about your dad, because I remember that. You know why? Because I was out there making a living too. They had more shrimp in the Canal de Mozilla and all them canals than you could think of. Today, you can't catch 5 pounds. So what happened?
Estuarial necrosis continuing to happen.
It seems almost impossible to see how much shrimp was caught there by a lot of people. Now, you can't get a bucket full.
What if I tell you that the amount of shrimp you caught was proportionate to the amount of swamp grass or non-open water that you saw? And now you go and you see open water. We talked about this, right there behind your house. And so now with all that open water and no grass there, that's the proportion that you see. And so that's why I'm for this project, to be able to start growing some more marsh in there. If you don't do it, in other words, pumping and dumping is one thing. As she said, that's one tool, but you have to complement it with Mother Nature coming in and basically filling in. The pumping and dumping, the rocks, the dredges, the land bridges and all of that, that's the skeleton, that's the bones, the framework. But Mother Nature and the Mississippi River for us is what's going to put the meat on the bones, put the green back in Barataria.
I think the main thing was scaling the project down and doing some dredging instead of all this other stuff.
Yeah, well, it's permitted at a certain size, and it has operational management that they never talk about. So any detriment that happens, you can just close the gates.
Okay.
So thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Joe. All right, Mr. Araby, you have the floor, sir. Well, no, hold on, I'm sorry. Bo Melvin, you have the floor, sir, next.
I'm sorry. I thought their lights were green. I'll let them go before me. Go ahead.
Well, your light was on red. Okay, so he's out the line. Terry, you are up.
I just got a quick question for you. I know, and I thank you for coming over here and making this presentation, and I want to thank everybody else for coming over here and making that
Thank you all
presentation.
for listening and considering.
But have you made this presentation to Terrebonne and the Plaquemine and St. Bernard, all the other people that voted unanimous to support this resolution?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Perk.
I'm good. I was just going to comment.
You good, Joe?
All right.
I'm good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I got a question.
I took a bunch of time and went through all of these reports. And I'm in favor of the diversion project. We may have to make adjustments as we go. But in all of this, I sat back and probably the most significant information was this particular report from Professor Eugene Turner, okay? And I read all of this, and he spoke a bunch about the different diversion projects, and in particular that expressed interest to me was the Davis Pond Diversion Project, which I go back in Clovelly, and I saw the difference of what it made. And I saw that the marsh, the grass, that it was continually growing. Now, Ida came in and did its damage, but how much worse would it have been had that not started to happen? Okay? And I guess in reading this particular report, he talks that Davis Pond actually did not have any land mass increase, that it lost land. Okay? And so I guess my question is what is the definition of land loss and what is the definition of land mass, right? Does that mean it's solid ground like you walking on, okay, off of the Neptune Canal, right? So it certainly shows that it works. And through all of this, we talk about the fishermen, and look, I sympathize with them, but as a kid, we would travel 45 minutes before we could fish saltwater speckled trout. Now, 5 minutes from my place, I can fish. And that's mighty convenient, right? Saves me on fuel, saves me on time, all of these things. But at the end of the day, it's the saltwater intrusion is giving me an advantage, right? We all know speckled trout, they move in the wintertime, they move in, okay, and they move in to hatch, right? And it's because of the salinity level, all right? The dolphins have moved in closer. Man, they're catching sharks in the intercoastal canal in Terrebonne Parish. So that's good. We're just allowing them to come further and further south, right? Or north, should I say. I apologize, north. And so with all of that said, when we go back and we start talking about, I think our habitat and our fisheries is no different than our human habits, okay? When the Chenier started to go underwater because of saltwater intrusion, where did everybody come? Leeville, right? The intrusion started to take over Leeville. Everybody came up the bayou to Golden Meadow, right? Golden Meadow, that's how Golden Meadow became so prosperous, is from that transition for those people coming to Golden Meadow, okay? And so with that said, now Ida has even flushed them further and further north. And so the human being, we're all moving further north, and the habitat is moving with it because of the saltwater intrusion. And until we stop it, it's not going to stop. That I-10, every insurance company you talk to, they're starting to slam the door and say, we're not going to insure anything, anybody, whatever, south of I-10 corridor. And until we change that thought process, it's not going to get any better. So with that said, that's my position on it. And I just think we've got the opportunity to fix something, and it's got its proven, and I'm sure we're going to have to move. You know, we're going to have to adjust as we go. But I'm certainly in favor of the diversion, and I'm positioning against the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Pert. Mr. Melvin.
Yes, I look at cost versus effectiveness as well, because we've heard it's going up. And again, government with money just scares the death out of me, because I think it's so much better in the private sector. But also, I know just talking to folks who duck hunt, and I don't duck hunt like I used to, but I used to hunt back to La Rose, down Grand Bayou towards Pointe-aux-Chenes, and I hunted the reserve as well. And I just know what guys I talk to that hunt in Venice, it's a lot greener over there. It's a lot more big ducks, what we call big ducks, you know, mallards, pintails, etc. And you can go kill some birds, no doubt, in Pointe-aux-Chenes, but you're not going to kill, I don't think, the quality of big ducks you're going to get in Venice. When I was a kid, and I grew up in La Rose, my dad and I, he had a business in Grand Isle. We used to go to Grand Isle, and I'll never forget going over the old Leeville Bridge, and you can see land. And he used to tell me, he said when he was a boy, because he was born in '37, he said this thing was covered with all decks as a kid. And before that, in the 1800s, had cotton. Okay, they had tractors. And I noticed, because we went to Grand Isle a whole lot, and next thing you know, we keep going, the land's vanishing. And look, a lot of folks have looked at this problem, but I don't think something has been done that works yet, and I'm not saying this is the answer, but so far what I've seen, everything from harvesting Christmas trees, which are donated trees, and you'd see them putting pickets in the marsh. I mean, the lattice work now, it's very frustrating to be from South Louisiana and to watch your land disappear. Look, I love seafood. Everybody loves seafood. So it's tough to see what's happening on both sides. I just think short-term, they have short and long-term goals, and it's what you want. Do you want land? And I just think it's at a dire stretch, because if you get one more hurricane, that's why I worry about the folks in Grand Isle with these camps and everything, because, again, it's not going to take much. If you look at other things that have happened that could happen with a few more bad hurricanes, a few bad years, and it's Katie bar the door. Now, just to throw this in for good measure, I have a relative who has a camp in Morgan City well inside the marsh, and they go frogging to June 1st to go catch frogs. Season opens up, and they always set jug lines when they go frogging. Well, this year, instead of catching catfish and frogs, they didn't catch a single frog. And on their jug lines, they caught bull sharks, and they're right here. Bull sharks, okay? Now, a bull shark, he can breathe fresh water, but my point is, bull sharks that far in the marsh, okay? I mean, the proof is in the pudding. So again, it's no fun. And look, at the end of the day, and I've said it before, I wish we had the money from Ukraine here, because we could have built a seawall, okay? And plated it with 24 karat, okay? With what they sent over there, our tax dollars. So I trust some science like I trust gas station sushi. You know, again, it's what are you going to get? What's the bang for the buck, right? I'm serious. We've all seen government waste money. That's why we're in the situation we're in the whole country. But again, I'm just torn. But the land loss just really bugs me.
Is that it? All right. Do we have any further discussion on this resolution? Okay, we'll bring it to the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ayes, please raise your hand. The motion fails by a vote of 2 yeas, that being Councilman Lorraine and Councilman Araby, and 7 nays. You good, Ms. Carleen?
I got it, thank you.
Item 16, resolution reappointing one member to the Lafourche Parish Community Action Advisory Board, elected official, Mr. Brumfield for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Brumfield?
Weber.
Mr. Weber, second by Mr. Adams. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, first of all, let me say, is there any discussion on that? All right. Dylan, you might have accidentally hit your button. Oh, I'm sorry. You were up next. Okay, I got you. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 17, resolution appointing one member to the Keep Lafourche Beautiful Committee representing the town of Lockport. Ms. Dylan for the administration. Who you have, Ms. Dylan?
Mayor Barry Plaisance.
Mayor Plaisance, second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 18, resolution appointing one member to Keep Lafourche Beautiful Committee representing the Barataria Terrebonne Estuary Program. Mr. Roderick for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Roderick?
Emily Bro.
Ms. Bro, second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Mr. Melvin, I'm at a point where I need to step out of chambers. Can you take over the rest of the meeting? Are you good?
I'll sure try.
Thank you, sir. I apologize.
Thanks for the surprise.
Easy peasy. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to chop through this. Trial by fire. Okay. Okay, number 19, okay. Resolution approving an agreement between the state and of Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services and Lafourche Parish government assisting low-income families and obtain benefits from the Department of Children and Family Services programs and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Move by Mr. Broomfield. Second by Mr. T-Boy Adams. Are there any questions? Okay. Any questions from the audience for a second? What's that? We're going to go for a vote. All those in favor Aye. Any nays? Okay.
8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent. That being Mr. Otis.
8 nays, 0, 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence. Mr. Otam. Okay. Number 20, approving an amendment, number 3, to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and APTIM, formerly known as CBI, for completing the D-firm appeal LAMP process and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, administer said agreement, any and all relevant documents, and moved by Ms. Chassaw for the administration. Second by Mr. Perk. Any audience? Okay. Any discussion from the council? And we're going to vote on this. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay. So that's going to be 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, Mr. Otam. Okay. Number 21, resolution accepting a low quote of Chasson's Demolition LLC in the amount of $37.50 for the contractor services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 190 West 39th Street, Galliano, Louisiana 70354, assessment 01018900420, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement, any and all relevant documents. Move on Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Going to get a second by Mr. Tebow Adams. Any discussion on this? Okay, we're going to move it for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay. That's 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Number 22, resolution accepting the quote, low quote of any of Chasson's Demolition LLC. Wait, I'm sorry. We just did that one. In amount of $44.50 for contractor services related for nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 238 East 53rd Street, Cutoff, Louisiana 70345, assessment number 01029850, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. DeLynn for the administration. Can I get a second? Okay, second, Mr. Tebow. Any questions from the administration? Okay. We're going to move on, vote on this. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay. So that's 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absent, that being Mr. Otam. Okay. Resolution accepting a low quote of Chasson's Demolition LLC in the amount of $51.50 for contract services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 309 Treasure Lane, Racine, Louisiana, 70394, assessment number 0031259434, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Move with Mr. Roderick for the administration. Can I get a second? Mr. Araby, thank you. Discussion? Okay, we're going to take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Nays? Okay. That's going to be 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Number 24, resolution accepting the low quote of Greenscapes, Louisiana Incorporated for the amount of $51.40 for the contractor services related to nuisance abatement concerning demolition of condemned structure located at 15823 East Main, Cutoff, Louisiana, 70345, assessment 0102360750, and authorizes parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. Any of all relevant documents. Move by Mr. Otam for the administration. Can I get a second? By Mr. Roderick. Mr. Lorraine, I'm sorry. Move second by Mr. Roderick. And any questions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Number 25, resolution accepting low quote of Greenscapes, Louisiana Incorporated for the amount of $32.40 for the contractor services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 2155 Highway 182, Racine, Louisiana, 70394, assessment 00310-39700, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and all relevant documents. Move by Mr. Araby for the administration. Can I get a second? Okay, Mr. Perk, any questions? Discussion? Okay, we're going to take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, any nays? Okay. 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Number 26, resolution supporting a proposal by Lafourche Parish Government Office of Coastal Zone Management for funding of the final design of Galliano Marsh and Saltwater Fisheries Habitat Restoration Labor Protection Project through the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, National Coastal Resilience Fund, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Can I get a second? All right, Ms. Chasson, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay, passes. Vote 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence being Mr. Otam. Number 27, resolution supporting a proposal by Ducks Unlimited for funding of the Golden Meadow Marsh Creation Phase 2 project through the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, National Coastal Resilience Fund, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Can I get a second? Mr. Adams, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, any nays? Okay, resolution passes by a vote 8-0-1. That's 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Number 28. Let's see. Number 28, supporting proposal by Ducks Unlimited for funding of Port Fourchon Marsh Terracing Phase 2 project through National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, National Coastal Resilience Fund, and authorize the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Lorraine for administration. Can I get a second? Okay, Mr. Perk, thank you. Second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Any nays? Okay, it passes. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence by Mr. Otam. Number 29, approving amendment number 1 with REV for diverse outband internet services for Tyler hosted services, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration. Can I get a second? Thank you, Mr. Perk. Any discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay, resolution passes. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, and that being Mr. Otam. Okay, number 30, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish School District and Lafourche Parish Government Head Start Program coordinating efforts to 2024 to 2025 school year and identify and serve children who are at risk for developmental delays or have exceptional needs, and authorize the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chasson from the administration. Get a second. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Second. And any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay, resolution passes. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Number 31, resolution approving change order number 3 of the project titled Bayou Blue Park Hurricane Ida Repairs Replacements, increasing the contract price by $16,610, and authorize the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order, any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Rodrigue for the administration. Second by Mr. Perk. And any discussion? Okay, I have one question on this. I noticed this question and the next one, this item and the next one, is this, I mean, is it going to be done after this, or y'all know if it's going to be, this is going to be repaired? Because I see 2 items and both of them have change orders increasing for replacements. It almost seems like a duplicate, but if they don't know, it's okay. Okay.
What's your specific question?
I'm just wondering on this one and the next one, one's $16,610, another one's $18,850. Why wasn't that in one item?
So there are separate, and the main reason why we're also separating out, some of it is being paid by the district and some of it's being paid by us.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, we'll move vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay, resolution passes. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Number 32, resolution approving change order number 4 for the project titled Bayou Blue Hurricane Ida repairs and replacements, increasing the contract price by $18,850 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order, any and all relevant documents. Move by Mr. Rodrick from the administration. Can I please get a second? Thank you. Ms. Chassaw, move. Any questions, discussion? Yeah. Mr. Lorraine, your lights be.
You gotta press this button.
I don't have access to that. Ms. Carling does.
Hey.
Go ahead.
The only thing I
No.
wanted to say was,
No.
Can't hear you.
you were concerned about the change orders.
Still can't hear you. Hold on.
Show me a project.
Hold on, Mr. Lorraine. We still can't hear you. Now you can talk.
I said the only thing that you were concerned about the change orders on these 2 projects?
Yes, sir.
Well, show me a project where they never had a change order.
I get it.
That concerns me.
My point is, it's just 2, and I didn't know why they weren't combined. But that's all. You good? So when the light comes on, your light, well, I saw it as green, so sometimes you might have to tilt your head and see if it's green or red before you speak. We good?
That means you're in line waiting.
Right.
Red is, you can speak.
So we good on that?
It's true, Mr. DJ.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay, resolution passes. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, that being Mr. Otam. Number 33, resolution approving revision number 1 to the total amount of $77,136 for the purpose of cost of living adjustment for the all Head Start staff, and authorize the parish president and council chairman to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chassaw from the administration, and second by Mr. Rodrick. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, we're going to take it up for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay, resolution passes. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that being Mr. Otam. Okay. Going to close. Going to move to number M. Parish president, department heads, directors, or managers' reports, presentations, and/or updates. Number 34. Ms. Renita?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The monthly financial report was actually sent to you guys via email, actually about 2 weeks ago.
Got it.
We were ahead of schedule, which would included the requirements for the monthly report in accordance with the agreed-upon procedures. If you have any questions, please reach out to us.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. All right. 34, finance representative present a monthly financial report as required by state agreed upon procedures for the month of May, and that's been taken, May 2024. It's been taken care of. Number 35, Mr. Sam Shankin, solid waste manager, present a report on the 2024 household hazardous material collection event. Mr. Shanklin, thank you, sir. It's on.
Hello. I'm glad you guys still here, man. I thought you guys might have left, and that's almost like a closed circuit thing. Anyway, I want to present you guys the household hazard waste day we had. We're going to talk about the overview, event purpose, event layout, event pictures, event filing report, treatment method, final report summary in comparison to the previous event. Talk about the event purpose. The event was held on April 27, 2024. The event was Residential Service Collection Day, allowing the resident to bring hazardous material that they normally can't bring on certain days, like exception to ammunition, explosive, fireworks, fire extinguishers, appliances, furniture, power tools, radioactive devices, and liquid containers larger than 5 gallons. Event layout, this is the layout we put together from the past previous years, and it seemed to work pretty fine. Event pictures. So the event final report treatment method, which I'm going to explain on the next slide. The event final report summary, 64% collected was recycled at a weight of 23,097 pounds. 30% collected was fuel blended at a weight of 10,815 pounds. 4% collected was incinerated at a weight of 1,362 pounds. 2% collected was treatment at a weight of 772 pounds. Total weight collected was 34,609 pounds. We had a total of 277 tires collected and 225 residents service. So the comparison of the previous events, 2023, total weight collected was 19,246 pounds. In 2004, total weight collected was 34,609 pounds, with a difference of 15,363 pounds in increased weight. 2023, we had 179 tires collected. 2024, we had 277 tires collected, which is a difference of 98 increase from the tires collected. 2023, 276 residents served. 2024, 225 residents served. So we had less residents served this year than last year, but we had more products brought in from the residents. So I entertain any kind of questions you guys may have.
Any questions?
It don't have to be about the presentation. It could be about whatever you guys want to discuss. Because you guys got me here now, you better use me.
Mr. Araby has a question, but I don't have the button to my disposal. Okay, Mr. Araby, you have the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Shanklin, I just want to thank you for coming over here and giving us that report. You know, I want to compliment y'all guys for a job well done that day. I came over here myself and had some stuff to get rid of, hazardous things, and it went very quick. You just rolled right through and you're done. And also want to thank you for the job y'all doing with the solid waste department. Things look like it's starting to shape up a lot better now, and trash is getting picked up. I still have a few piles in my area, but every time I call about it, y'all take care of it. So again, thank you, and thank you to all your employees.
This is to reiterate on Mr. Coleman too. We did speak to his son about a week and a half ago about picking up the trash, which he's the guy on the property, not Mr. Coleman. So I think we just need to speak to the son instead of speaking to him. But we did address that with him already.
Thank you, Mr. Araby. Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Mr. Lorraine. We're going to put your button on. Give us a little patience because I don't have it. I'm not right in front of the magic seat.
You don't want to know the comment.
Right, but he's not in the queue at all.
Okay, Mr. Lorraine. Go ahead.
All right, Bo, thank you. I just want to thank Sam for doing the job he's doing. And I know your business is always booming, man, because once you pick up one pile of trash, you got to go pick up another one. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
And I think the complaints have settled down. So I guess everything's going well until something happens. But like I said, I'm going to thank you. And I'm sorry that you had to wait all this time when we could have taken care of you at the very beginning. But that's only me.
Yeah, I wouldn't enjoy that anyway. I'd rather be with you guys.
So just don't get too swell-headed. Thank you.
That's okay, no problem. You're welcome.
Any more questions from Mr. Shanklin? Okay. Ms. Shanklin, I'd like to thank you because I know that we rely on you heavily, and I know it's not always fun and games, and some people I just think know when they know all the rules when it comes time to not cutting their grass, and they let it grow as long as possible before we go stick a sign in the yard. So thank you and your staff for that. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Any more questions, administration? I just want to thank you guys for allowing Riverbridge to be our contractor again. Lafourche Parish we have a unique, we deal with all the contractors for his Republic, Pelican, and I'm gonna tell you guys, they're pretty much all the same, but exception is the Riverbridge. Since I've been there, these guys have did an excellent job. I'm sure you guys seen the changes. There's still changes to be made, but we still constantly call in. If you guys got any problem, call in, tell the residents, go online, put it in. The reason why we want you to go online and put it in, we can gauge how long the trash been in one location. If you call and say, hey, Sam, I got a trash, okay, was it called in? Oh, they say it's been there 3 months, but normally it's not been there 3 months, it's only been there 2 days. So if you guys could help us out a little bit more, just give us the information, we could track it a lot better.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Shanklin. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, N, questions for the administration. I see some lights blinking. Okay. I saw Ms. DeLynn first. Okay, you recognized?
Yep. Okay, so my question is for Dylan.
Dylan, our two no dumping signs on the same location. Have we moved that yet?
I'm not sure if they moved it yet, but I know it was discussed late last week, and they were instructed to do it this week, so not sure if they got to it yet, but it's going to happen this week.
Okay.
We may be waiting on a one call to put it at the other location.
Yeah.
So we have to
one
wait
call.
3 working days. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because where they've been picking up, because the sign was put in the wrong position, the wrong place, there's now a big hole there from every time they pick up the trash. But I do thank you for getting on that.
I'll get you an answer on it tomorrow for sure.
All right, thank you.
Okay, could y'all please get Mr. Araby's lighting? All right, Mr. Araby, you ready?
Yeah, I got a question for Mr. Mitch. Mitch, can you tell me why on the proposed ordinance number 14 for next council meeting that you're de-obligating a project I put in the capital outlay for Bucher and Market Street?
My appreciation of the matter is that there isn't any work to be done there, and that funds could be utilized in some other areas, particularly for trash screens at pump stations.
So you're saying there's no work to be done there?
There was an investigation that was done in the area, and we even spoke to some folks in the area that told us that there wasn't any need for any drainage work.
It's hard for me to believe that, Mitch, because I don't think I'd put a project like that as a capital outlay project just to be putting a project to spend taxpayers' money. That's a project that's very much needed, and I know who you talk to, and I know what employees you'll talk to. But I've been there quite a few years, and I know that would help alleviate some of that water getting out of that quicker to the reservoir. So I just want to hear your answer so that I can tell the people when they ask me that I told that we're going to be probably doing a project there, that the administration is taking it out of the budget. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry, I was going to number 14. 13. Okay, discussion, none. I just wanted to say real quick, thank y'all and appreciate it, and hope y'all put up with me for this. Any other questions? Okay. We're going to move for adjournment. Second, okay. All those in favor? Mr. Boudreaux, Mr. Adams, I'm sorry. Okay. Second by Mr. Broomfield. And all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, nay.
Opposed, none? Okay.
Further business of the Lafourche Parish.
Wait, hold on. Let me see something. Okay, on the motion, no further business, Lafourche Parish Council regular meeting, June 25th, 2024, adjournment at, I have 7:17.
Thank you.
Thank you.